I want you to remember the first F of bouncing back, which is, how does it feel? And the cheetah story, how was I breathing when I felt I was about to be attacked by a cheetah? I was hyperventilating, or stop breathing at all. And that signals to my body, do I feel safe or do I feel scared? You see, every one of those 22,000 breaths that we have on a day is telling our body which state we're in. And anytime we want to move from stressed to safe, to feel more content, to feel more at peace, which is pretty much the number one thing that people are asking for when they're saying, well, I feel happy when I feel content or at peace. There's one of those things. So what if we can do the opposite? What if we can use our breath to create some sense of calm? And this is the quickest way. The quickest way to move from stress to calm is this thing called the double breath. And I know you're watching with me, and I was a bit embarrassed if we were going to do it in the conference. So I want you to try it with me now. It's 3 breaths, okay? So here's how I want you to do it. So play along. One hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And what I want you to do is you're going to breathe in fully and then hold it for a millisecond and then breathe in again. And then this is where the key is. Can you breathe out twice as long as you're breathing in? So with me, we'll work it in together, 3 breaths. So think about, where are you on a scale of stress at the moment? The 10 is super stressed, tearing my hair out. Me, not you. 1 is like your Zen Roshi monk, drinking a tequila on the beach. Are you ready? 1 hand on your chest, 1 hand on your belly. Breathing in. Breathe in one more time. And out. One more time. Breathing in. Final one. Breathing in. Breathing in again. One more time. Breathing out. So that's it. One tool, one breathing tool. No one needs to know you're doing it. You don't have to put your hand on your chest. That's to notice, where are you breathing? But you can start to see that in 3 breaths, you can move your sense of calm to a low point where you can then involve this part of your brain, which is how you use your focus and your thoughts. So remember what that thoughts was. Well, what are we focusing on? Remember the picture where people are like this or like this. So it's not important what you look at, but it is important what you see. And then those thoughts have power. So what does it mean? Maybe your thought is, I am a learner. It's a pretty powerful thought. So things aren't going your way. Okay, I'm a learner. What does that mean next? I'm focusing on faith, which is maybe as an outcome, this is going to work. I may not getting it quite right yet, but over time, I will. And there's 3 questions which will allow you to help a friend. All we can do to help us, it allows us to use this rational part of the brain. So if you're struggling or you're working with a person, well, name the emotion. How does it feel? Feels like I feel angry at the moment. Remember, 90% of anger is about feeling out of control. And you can validate that with, well, that sounds tough. What's next? Question number 2. Remember, 3 questions to get us to start to focus differently. What are the options now? So give me an option of where this challenge is. What's one thing you could do? Is do nothing. What does that do for you? It means your future is here. Okay, what else could you do? Let them paint the picture, get them to here. So it's the same you, but the choices that you make will lead to a different outcome. And then the question 3 is, which one of these options are you going to commit to? Because that creates an action. So with those 2 things, I can use it with someone else. And I was with my daughter the other day, and we took Orla to gymnastics. And while she was in just gymnastics, Thea was outside. And Thea, she said to me, "Oh, Dad, I don't want Orla to be in gymnastics." I said, "Oh, Thea, what's going on?" She said, "Well, just time watching it is so boring." And I felt like, what? This is our time together. I was so excited about watching Orla do gymnastics, but also playing with Thea on a one-to-one, and how my excitement just went like this, straight away. She didn't mean it as a barbed comment. But when someone says something to you that may be a little bit riling, that pause is really important. So I took a breath. She didn't know I was doing it. I asked her to repeat it. I said, "Can you just say that again?" And it's that moment that she looked up and she said, "Time with you is," and instead of boring, she switched the focus. She said, "It's time I love." But it allowed me to have that phrase with her. I then went through that thing. First, question 1, well, how are you feeling? Question 2, what are the options we've got for the next hour? Can you come up with 3 things? And she came up with this idea of playing a game which was called Under and Over, where we played it before. You've got a ball, it goes under your legs, over your head, and we have to try and catch it and run down the line, just the 2 of us, whilst we're in a leisure centre. The other choice was do some maths. Other choice was to do some reading. Other choice was to go for a walk around the park. And I said, which one of those is exciting for you now? Which one are you wanting to do? And then we played the Under and Over game, to the dismay of maybe some other parents who were watching gymnastics at the same time. But it meant that that hour was a positive hour, and I wasn't guarded with her. I wasn't stressed. I still remember it because maybe her overriding thing is, it is a bit boring watching your sister do gymnastics. But it meant that we connected differently. Remember, are we saving the worst of us for the people we love the most? How are we using that 4-minute rule to try and help? So remember those F's. How does it feel? What's our strategy there? One hand here. I can control some of those emotions. 2, what are we focusing on? Remember those 3 questions. Name the emotion. What are your options? And which one do you want to do? 3, find a friend. Are we brave enough to share it with our people around us? How are we allowing them to grow? How are they allowing us to have some sense of connection? Remember, the biggest predictor of our long-term happiness, strength and depth of social connection. Do we have faith? Do we have a compelling future that the stuff you're doing now, whether it's great or not great, and some of us are going through some really tough stuff, is that gonna help us in some way in the future? Where may this be something I'm gonna learn from? And finally, how are we gonna use that energy in that 4 minutes? That first 4 minutes of any interaction is our happiness reputation. Use that. Thank you so much for what you're trying to do. And I can't wait to see you some point in the future. Email is martin@artofbrilliance.co.uk. Connect with me on LinkedIn or some other platform, and I cannot wait to serve you sometime in the future. Best wishes.